Aloha, everyone. So it's been 2 years and 10 months since the big fire in Lahaina, and just a few days ago, I shared a short 3-minute video clip of me walking down Front Street, showing you an area that has not had any progress at all. But to be fair, I think it's important that people see all of town because some of the residential areas have seen a ton of progress, while some of the commercial areas are still frozen in time. So in this video, I'm going to take you on a driving tour of several different neighborhoods throughout town and let you be the judge of how Lahaina's recovery is progressing so far. Let's go for a drive.
Okay, we're going to start on the far south end of Lahaina town. Straight ahead at the intersection here, you can see the Puamana condominium complex. Now we're going to turn right onto the Honoapiilani Highway, heading north. Coming up on the right-hand side of the highway, we see our first sign of progress, as construction crews from Hawaii Electric are working to replace some of the above-ground utility poles in this area. So while the good news is they are installing stronger poles, I know a lot of the community is disappointed that the power lines are not going underground. According to county officials, burying all the power lines in Lahaina would have been just too expensive and too big of a project to undertake. Now we're turning onto the far south end of Front Street. The Puamana entrance is on the left-hand side, and in this video, we're going to take a little bit of a different route than we usually do in these videos, and I'm going to weave you through the Puamana neighborhood so you can see some of the progress that's being made with the residential rebuild in this area. As you can see, there are several homes here that are either completed or nearing completion. So we are starting to see some really good progress with the residential rebuild. In fact, 209 homes have officially completed construction, meaning that their permit has been completed with homes having passed final inspection and ready for occupancy. In addition to that, another 310 homes are currently under construction. In total, 534 residential permits have been issued, and there's another 166 residential permits that are being processed in Lahaina town. We're now turning back onto Front Street, and we'll continue driving north. By the way, if you saw the viral video of a tourist throwing a large rock at a Hawaiian monk seal that was spread all over the news, not only here in Hawaii, but on the mainland as well. Unfortunately, this is the area where that took place. As divided as Maui is on several controversial topics right now, one thing that we all agree on is that throwing rocks at endangered monk seals and potentially causing severe injury to them is completely unacceptable. And the latest that I've heard on this subject is that the tourist was arrested and he now faces severe federal charges and steep fines under the federal conservation laws. Okay, we're now coming up on a mid-rise building that's on the ocean side of Front Street. That is Lahaina Shores condominium complex. Just past Lahaina Shores, also on the ocean side, is where the shops at 505 Front Street were prior to the fire. As we continue driving north on Front Street, we're now entering into the cultural corridor known as Moku'ula. This was at one time the capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom. And just recently, Maui County has officially launched a community-driven master planning process to restore Moku'ula and the surrounding ponds. A comprehensive plan which will outline the cultural, historical, and ecological revival of the sacred royal complex, is scheduled to be finalized by the summer of 2027. So essentially, we're still in the planning of the planning phase, and I don't think a whole lot of progress will be seen in this area until we have that master plan dialed in. Coming up on the left-hand side of the screen is the world-famous banyan tree. On the right-hand side of the screen is where the old Wharf Cinema Center was prior to the fire. Straight ahead, you see orange barricades that are blocking off Front Street, which is the area that is still closed to the public. So we'll take a left here and head straight towards the harbor. Now, Lahaina Harbor had officially reopened to limited commercial daytime use back in December of last year. So it has been reopened for almost 6 months now, with companies like Trilogy Excursions, Atlantis Submarines Maui, and Hawaii Ocean Project all operating excursions from the harbor. On the left-hand side of the screen, we're now passing the old Lahaina courthouse, and the coral block wall that's located just past the courthouse represents the reconstructed ruins of the Lahaina Fort, which was originally built in 1832. So it is good to see that some of Lahaina's history will remain intact and that the banyan tree is still thriving. Okay, from here, we're going to jump back over to the Lahaina Shores area and we'll take a detour that brings us through town but around the portion of Front Street that is closed to the public. We're now turning left onto Shaw Street and we'll be driving right past the Shark Pit neighborhood on the right-hand side. We're now turning left onto Wainae Street, and on the right-hand side of the corner, you're going to see the Lahaina Baptist Church. Just a few days ago, Lahaina fire survivors received some more good news for the wildfire lawsuit settlement. Nearly 3 years after the fire, fire survivors are still waiting on the disbursement of the more than $4 billion global settlement. But we did take a step in the right direction when on June 5th, 2026, Hawaii Circuit Judge Peter Cahill officially capped the victims' attorney fees at $222 million. This is in contrast to the more than $1 billion payout that attorneys were originally asking for. We're now at the intersection of Prison Street and Wainae Street, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the coral wall, which was the old prison historical site. On the right-hand side of the screen, we're coming up on the site of Aina Nalu, which was a very popular vacation rental condominium complex. Just past Aina Nalu and on the other side of the Dickinson Street intersection, we're now coming up on the Maria Lanakila Catholic Church on the right-hand side. Now, just to finish my thoughts on the wildfire lawsuit, certainly less attorney fees means more money in fire survivors' pockets, which is a good thing. And there are rumors that initial payments could be coming out as soon as this summer. But if you ask me, it's probably going to be delayed even further because administrators are juggling roughly 94,000 claims by 21,000 individuals. So it could take up to 6 months to process the entirety of the first installment. We're now at the Lahainaluna intersection, and the large building on the left-hand side is where the Foodland grocery store was prior to the fire. Coming up on the left-hand side, you can see where the McDonald's building is still standing. And just past the intersection on the right-hand side is where the First Hawaiian Bank was prior to the fire, and on the left-hand side is where the Outlets of Maui was standing prior to the fire. Let's take a quick detour through the Outlets of Maui parking lot so we can get a closer look at what is happening in this area. As you can see, there really hasn't been much progress here since the removal of the ash and debris. Okay, we're going to turn right out of the parking lot and head back towards Front Street. Looking to the left, you can see more orange barricades, and this is where Front Street is blocked off to the public on the north side. So we'll take a right-hand turn and continue our path along the coastline. So that gives you a pretty good perspective of what has been happening to the commercial portion of Front Street, which unfortunately has had almost zero progress since the removal of the ash and debris, which was completed about a year and a half ago. We're now coming up on the intersection of Baker Street and Front Street, and on the other side of the intersection here is where you're going to find the Channel House condo complex. We're now passing the Siemens Hospital Museum, and Lahaina Residential is in this area as well. Coming up on the right is where the Front Street apartments were prior to the fire. And on the other side of the intersection we're about to cross is where Kahoma Village is, my neighborhood. On the left, we just passed one of the beach access paths to Baby Beach. As you can see, this is one of the areas in Lahaina town that mostly survived the fire. But of course, we're still right in the middle of the burn zone, so we'll see a lot more of the reconstruction activities once we get over to the north side of town. We're coming up on an intersection on the left-hand side where you would turn down to go to the Lahaina Jodo Mission or the Mala Wharf boat ramp. The blue building on the left-hand side is Snorkel Bob's, and the bridge that we're about to cross is going over the Kahoma Stream. After we cross the bridge, we're coming up on the Cannery Mall on the right-hand side and the old Lahaina Luau on the left-hand side. This is also where you're going to find several restaurants that are open and have been for quite some time, like Aloha Mixed Plate, Star Noodle, Honu, Mala, and the Coco Deck Lahaina. Okay, we're now leaving the business district in this area and coming back into more of the residential side of town. We're now only about halfway through this driving tour, so I have a lot more to show you. But as a friendly reminder, if you appreciate the time and energy that I put into making these videos, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more updates, and share this video with anyone else you know who wants to stay in tune with what's really happening in Lahaina's recovery. And if you really want to support the updates that I create on this channel, consider joining as a member. I'll share a link to the membership options in the description, or if you're watching this on your TV, I'll throw a QR code up on the screen that will take you to the membership options as well. And I just want to say thank you to all the members who have already joined. I really appreciate your continued support. Okay, we're now coming up on the end of Front Street on the north side. You can actually see Ka'anapali off in the distance from here. Next, we're going to cross over the Honoapiilani Highway and head into the Wahikuli neighborhood. This is where we're going to start to see a lot more of the residential rebuild in progress. If you've been to Lahaina recently and you've driven down the highway, you can tell just from looking up the hillside that there's a ton of houses that are currently being built in this area. After we finish driving through the Wahikuli neighborhood, We're going to take the Honoapiilani Highway over towards Lahainaluna. We're going to head up into that neighborhood, which is also another neighborhood that has a lot of homes under construction. And then we'll finish off with a tour of the Emerald Plaza commercial area, which I haven't shared on this channel for quite some time. By the way, I will provide timestamps in the description below to all the key landmarks and neighborhoods that we tour in this video. So you can jump ahead to take a look at an area that's of most interest to you, or easily go back and take a second look at an area that we've already passed. Okay, so we've reached the end of the Wahikuli neighborhood, so we're going to turn right here and head back down to the highway. We'll drive through the middle of town, and I think it'll be really good for people to see just how busy it is in this area. While there are parts of Lahaina that have not seen much progress, activity is picking up in town, and I think most people would agree that the vibe is improving. To give you a point of reference, we're now passing the Cannery Mall on the right-hand side, and you can see just how busy the parking lot is. On the left-hand side, we're passing the Lahaina Gateway Center. Coming up on the left-hand side of the highway, we're approaching the Opukea at Lahaina condominium complex. And as you can see, Opukea is making good progress in reconstructing the buildings that they lost in the fire. On the left-hand side, we're now passing the area that held the Sugarcane Train Museum prior to the fire. Now we're coming up on the intersection at Lahainaluna Road. So we're going to turn left off of the highway and head up the hillside. On the left side of the screen, you see the old Pioneer Mill smokestack, which of course is still standing after the fire. Now, this portion of Lahainaluna Road is where Hawaii Electric and Maui County officials have indicated that they intend to remove the utility poles and bury the power line. They chose this area because of the high population density, but as you can see, construction on that project has not yet started. The last update that I've seen is that design work is underway with an estimated completion of the year 2030. Okay, we've reached the top of the burn zone in the Lahainaluna neighborhood. So we're going to turn left here and we're going to drive over to the Kahoma Homes neighborhood and head back down the hillside. As we turn here, we're now entering the Kahoma Homes neighborhood. We're going to head down the hillside, and as you'll see, a lot of the homes that were lost in the fire have already been reconstructed here. This might be the area with the highest density of completed homes in all of Lahaina. Now, as a real estate broker and someone who owns real estate in Lahaina, I get asked all the time how the property values were affected after the fire. If you're curious to know more about that, I did release a video just a few weeks ago that breaks down the property values before the fire and after the fire for certain neighborhoods. After you're done watching this video, you might want to check that one out next. Straight ahead, you're looking at the backside of the Opukea at Lahaina condo complex. We did pass the front side of Opukea when we were driving along the highway, but this gives you an even better perspective of a couple more buildings that are being reconstructed in that neighborhood. After we cross another bridge over the Kahoma stream, we're now passing the Ho'onanea townhome buildings on the left-hand side of the screen. Okay, from here, we're going to turn right, we're going to head up the hillside a little ways, and then turn into the Emerald Plaza commercial area. This is a neighborhood that I have not driven through in most of my previous videos, but I do get the request quite often for people who want to see what it looks like now. Straight ahead, you can see the reconstruction of a few of the commercial buildings that were lost during the fire. The building straight ahead now, right before the road curves to the left, is an affordable apartment complex that did burn down in the fire. As you can see, it has now been completely reconstructed. As we wrap up this driving tour, I'm really curious to hear from all of you. Now that we've had a full driving tour of Lahaina town, what do you think of the progress that's being made in the reconstruction? Let me know in the comment section. And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I hope to see you on the next video. Aloha.